All right, guys, welcome back to TSSA Talks. This video series is done in partnership with Tennessee State Soccer Association and the fine folks here at the historic Exit Inn music venue in Nashville, Tennessee. Again, welcome back to Desmond Armstrong, our guest today. Desmond, when we talked just previously, we've gotten up to the point where your family has now moved to Columbia, Maryland, into a new, exciting kind of planned community that was very diverse, both racially, socioeconomically, in a lot of ways. So we're going to take the story from there, kind of then through your playing career. So bring us back. You're a teenager in Columbia, Maryland.
Yeah, we moved really at the age of 13. I was in a middle school, like in ninth grade, where I'm top of the heap, ninth grade. Mid-year, we moved, so I'm in a new school in January. And now I'm a freshman in high school because the school systems were different from those two communities. So moving into Columbia was really a godsend in regards to the soccer piece of it, as well as socially. You brought up a point, having moved from an all-black community to then an all-white community to Silver Spring, and then from Silver Spring, Wheaton, Maryland, to Columbia. And Columbia, like I mentioned before, was a very, very unique community in that it was planned. The social experiment was that if we have all of these types of people there, black and white primarily, but more from an economic perspective, living side by side, what would be the outcome of it? And so on the soccer end of it, I don't know why this is the case or why it was the case, but soccer was the sport. Soccer was the sport. It was introduced in every one of the villages or communities, and again, had about 11 in the beginning. And so each of those villages had their own recreation program. And they all played against each other in their self-contained little bubble, if you will. And so the best players from each of those communities formed a travel team that represented Columbia, Maryland, known as Soccer Association of Columbia, or SAC. And so with all of this black, white, low, middle, upper, economically, income community living together. So yeah, a lot of black people that were in the category of middle class, including us. And everybody played soccer. I mean, everybody played soccer. And so I go into the high school years of competing for my club team, which is SAC, and then competing with my high school team. And back then, because we all played on the same club team, we all faced each other with our high schools. And it was a cross-town rivalry. It was just great. It was just like a soccer, microcosm of a soccer community in America that could rival, if you will, any other community around the world by way of soccer. Soccer was the number one sport. Everybody played. So all of these quote-unquote black kids were playing soccer, not playing basketball, not running track, not playing American football. We all played soccer. And so instead of just being one black dude on the team where I was in Silver Spring, now I've got 2, 3, 4, 5 guys on the team playing against each other. And so from that, reflecting on the NASL again, which was still prevalent. Let me just say the NASL is what MLS is today. Pure and simple. Some of the top players in the world in other leagues that are ready to come over and get into their years of retirement came over and played in America, played in the NASL, came and got their money, and then went back to wherever they came from after they got their money. So MLS does that today. Ibrahimovic, thank you. So, regarding that, NASL is still vibrant, still growing, and we're talking now 1978, 79, 80, 81. I graduated, yes, I'm an old guy. I graduated in 1982. I know it's ancient history. It's black and white TV, so stay with me. So, with all of that said, there was a guy 2 years older than I am that got drafted out of high school, Daryl G., from Columbia, Maryland, at an opposing school, Oakland Mills High School. He got drafted. Every news reporting agency came in because he was the African American that got drafted out of high school. And where was he going? New York Cosmos. to play with Pelé, the guy that I saw on TV when I was in Silver Spring, Maryland, that I said, I want to do like that. I want to be like him. I see somebody like me. And now I got somebody 2 years older than me who got drafted. So we were all in front of the TV. We were listening to the interview. What do you do? How did you get there? Oh, I trained 6 days a week, 2 hours each day. So we had it in our minds, every last one of us. I'm going to train 7 days a week, 3 hours a day. I'm going to be a pro. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what we all did. So wherever you drove after school, anywhere in any village, you will see guys out playing soccer. We played soccer every single day. Pick up by yourself. I used to run 2 miles a day with the soccer ball through the streets every day to meet up with my boys to play pickup soccer. That's what we did. Work on my moves. They weren't there. Work on my shot. I still should have worked on that, but I used to play forward. Just for a little bit of history. When I made it to the national team, when I finally made it to the national team, I actually played forward. I was a winger. I played forward. And then after breaking my leg, then I got moved back to the back. I was, I was a fast guy still, but they put me in the back. No shame. No shame. Just want you to know. I was a forward. So, long story.
You've seen him, gave you another example. You see Pele on TV. Now you see this guy you know, a guy you've competed against in high school, and now he's shown you the path for how to get to where you want to go.
How to be a pro, dude.
Right.
He got in. So not just me, but it's everybody was, if Daryl can make it, maybe we can too. So that's what really, really just put some, gasoline on the fire, passion of playing, and the desire to really make it as a pro. So I ended up getting a scholarship. I didn't get drafted out of high school. I got a scholarship to the University of Maryland. And the reason behind that is because I was selected on the youth side for what was known as the state select team back then, which is now known as the ODP, state ODP team. And then I made the regional select team, which is the ODP regional team of today. So I know that system intimately. I had gone through that system, and so I got identified by a coach early on, Pete Caringi. And Pete is a head coach at UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Wonderful, wonderful guy. A deep history of soccer out of Baltimore, the Italians in soccer in Baltimore. And so he saw me, and I was really, really raw. I'm talking about I wasn't toe poking the ball, but I was still very raw. He saw my athletic ability. He saw that I could be refined. I got selected. And so from that, I then moved on to the regional tournament, got selected there. Bob DeCranian, who was the head coach at Southern Connecticut, second division team, perennial champs, he saw me as well and brought me on. And again, I was really, really rough. But through that, I was taken out to a regional tournament, 4 regions, north, south, east, and west, represented the east, played in the tournament, and at that time, they were just forming the first U17, it was known as U16 back then, national team that was going to China to play in the Youth World Cup. And so I made the alternate. I was an alternate on the original team. And from there, I was in the pool of players to potentially make the youth national team, but it took me 6 years to basically make it to the national team. And so from that experience, I was scouted by college coaches, and in this case, I selected University of Maryland. I could have taken a scholarship at Columbia University or Rutgers, but I wanted to stay close to home, and so I ended up playing for Maryland, played in the ACC, and at that time, the ACC was the top place for soccer in America. A lot of my teammates from the 1990 World Cup team, really the Olympics of '88, and then subsequently to the 1990 World Cup team, come out of the ACC in that region of college players.
Yeah. So you've now gone, again, this is a rocket ship ride we're talking about, Desmond, from learning about the game at 10, 11, 12 years old, then going to England. Now you've moved, you've found these opportunities. At this point, and the NASL is starting to kind of wither. And by '84, I saw one of the last matches in '84. I saw the Sting play the Cosmos in Soldier Field. So again, but it's starting to go away. And so now you're really coming up and becoming a player. You go to Maryland. How do you then transition from that time at Maryland, a very successful career in the ACC, to then, okay, you graduated from college in what year? I'm guessing around '86?
'84.
'84. Okay, so you graduated quick. Boom, you're in.
96, 86, sorry.
Okay.
84 is when NESL
Died.
died.
Yep.
So I
So
was
then
thinking
a couple years later, now you're graduating. Now there's no professional soccer on that landscape. The path towards what a pro career looks like is different then. So tell us about how you go from graduating from Maryland, the ACC. Was that a positive experience, I'm assuming, from being there? And then take me into then how that ramps up towards the World Cup.
Yeah. Maryland experience was not a great experience. Let me just correct you. We never made it to the playoffs. We never made it, got a chance to actually play for the College Cup. We had a series of coaching changes in my 4 years there. Even though I was successful as an individual player, we were never really successful as a team. I was recognized again as a player, and the NASL faded out, man, 2 years after I got into school. So you're looking around and trying to figure out what you're going to do. Fortunately, the final coach that came into the University of Maryland knew a pro coach that was coaching indoor soccer, MISL, Major Indoor Soccer. That was the only pro soccer in America at the time. All of the NASL teams that transitioned, that folded or transitioned, they transitioned into the MISL. And so there was a college all-star game. I had never made All-American. I was not a part of the elite players or considered to be an elite player nationally because we never made it onto the national stage on the collegiate level. And so I got in to this all-star game based off of somebody knowing somebody. Hey, I got this kid. You may not know about him. Bring him up, have a look. So all the top players from around the country are invited into this all-star weekend. And my mindset was, I know I'm as good as this guy. Okay, so I have to go for broke. Yes, I'm about to graduate, and this is the only pro that I know of. You know, going back to England was long gone. Taking a scholarship in college. I don't have any contacts any longer. And so I just said, look, take the ball. I'm going to roll. And so I ended up blowing up. I had nothing to lose. So I ended up being drafted. I was the third overall pick in the MISL, but I was the first pick for Cleveland Force. And now you talk about a cultural shift, dude. I was moving from D.C. to Cleveland, Ohio. Nothing against Cleveland. Back then, it was just like a whole different world. Completely different world. Blue-collar community. Huge schism between white and black. Urban and suburban. Huge. And so it was just a whole nother world. But this is my opportunity, so I'm just going to grab it and go in. So I got drafted along with another teammate of mine in that summer of, 86. We got drafted. I was number 1 for Cleveland Force. He was number 2. We played in the same club team. And that club team was known as the Spartans out of Northern Virginia. We won the Amateur Cup and the Open Cup. And that summer, I actually scored, like I said, I used to be a forward. I scored 2 in the semifinals and 1 in the final. It's in Soccer America. There's a clip there in Soccer America. The national team coach was out there, saw me. And again, I was in the pool of players, just never made it. Saw me, came clean, got drafted. And so I had a whole year of playing pro in the MISL. I was kind of pissed off of it because I was the number 1 draft pick. My boy, he was the number 2 draft pick for Cleveland, right? But he started over me. He started the entire season over me. He was rookie of the year. So now I got a chip on my shoulder. I was like, look, I'm number 1. Why am I not playing? Just chip. Mm-hmm. So the following year, we get picked for the World University Games team. It's like a mini Olympics, if you will. And what was known as Yugoslavia. I'm talking about like really ancient history right now. There's no more Yugoslavia. Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina now. It's not Yugoslavia. Anyway, Zagreb. We went there, we played. And that's where a lot of guys from the ACC came into the national team. That was my first foray into the national team. Again, the national team coach saw me the year before. I played a year as a pro. They bring me in. I do well enough that I'm being considered for the Olympics. And so the second year that I went into my pro contract, I'm pissed off because I was like, this dude right here, you picked me first and you started him over me. So I was like, just forget it. I was just like, give me the ball. And so the second year, I made all-star team. And then went to the Olympics. Okay, so I'm on a high. And so now I'm about to enter the Olympics. I'm representing USA, and I'm looking forward to, okay, now get on the world stage. I'm back to where I wanted to be so many, many years ago. And so my dream, my vision for what I could possibly do is starting to come to fruition.
Nice. So you make the '88 Olympic team. How did the Olympic tournament go?
It went well. We played against Argentina. Argentina had just won the World Cup in '86. So they were bringing in a young team. We played against them. We were leading in the first match. And I'm telling you, I was beaming, all of us, not just me, but all of us were beaming because we have the Olympics now, okay? This is where, at least in my mind, I believe I should be, okay? And I felt like I was one of the top players on the team, along with some other guys. We all thought we were kings of the universe, or masters of the universe. So the national anthem is playing. We're out there, hands on chest, and all I can think of is, we're going to show you how good we are. We're Americans, but we're here to show you how good we are. We were leading 1-0 against Argentina in the first match. And we did a sub. Hartsey came on, John Hartz came on, and he clips the guy right at the corner of the 18, shows our naivety in the game because the guy, he barely, the wind was blowing, he fell over, they called a penalty shot. Boom, they scored a penalty shot, we end the game 1-1. The second match is against the host, South Korea. And I'm talking about, we were getting blistered. If it were not for our goalkeeper, Dave Nolan, who no longer with us, tremendous goalkeeper. Dude, he was saving, I don't know how he was saving these shots. And you want to talk about some tall Koreans? Dude, these guys were like 6'2". I was like, where'd they get those guys from, man? I mean, these guys, you think about South Koreans, you ain't think about 6'2", and these cats were huge. I'm talking about big time. So we end up, by God's grace, we ended up tying that game 0-0. So now we come into the last game. The last game is against Russia, or Soviet Union at that time. And they had scouted us. We don't know anything. We're just at the Olympics. I don't start in this game. So now I'm back to being pissed. Okay, forgive me. I'm just upset. I'm just really upset. I start the first game, start the second game, we tie the game, and I don't start the last game. I'm like, why am I not starting? This is me in my mind. I'm not, moaning and groaning in any place.
And is this Coach Gansler?
This is Lothar Osian.
Okay.
Gans was a coach in '87 for the World University Games team. Lothar, who was a maitre d' in San Francisco, that was his full-time job. Big time restaurant. I mean, he's big time maitre d'. But he's our Olympic team coach. Love you, Lothar. He takes us, doesn't start me. Man, I don't come off the bench until we're 4-0 down. I'm talking about 4-0. Get on. And again, I was fast. So they play me a ball. Pow! They take me out. Very first touch. They had done their scouting. So I said, okay, right. Play me in space. Don't play me in the feet. I get the next ball, skip by the guy, put it across. I think I don't know who I hit it to, but they get it over to Brent Goulet. He scores. Now it's 4-1. Next round, down the right-hand side again, I play right wing. Shimmy past the guy, get it across, we score. 4-2. We end up losing the game 4-2. So we tie 2, we lose 1. And we don't go to the next round. But successful in the sense that, yeah, we could play. And so we come away from that. And now we're looking ahead towards not only 1990, but 94 in regards to the U.S. trying to be in a position to host the 94 World Cup.
All right, Des, let's pause right there. That's awesome. So we're here. We've now gotten through the Olympics in '88 in South Korea. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the trip between '88 and '94 and then on into MLS. We'll take that journey next.